and welcome back to our Soul Strokes to Tattoo podcast fifth episode. I'm your host, Alexa, and let's just jump straight into it because our guest is waiting. Hello, maybe you
Hi.
can tell us your name, how long you're tattooing, and what kind of tattoos are you doing?
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I'm tattooing for around 7 years. Always forget the number. At some point, you just stop forgetting
Yeah.
for how long you do this. My style is, I would say, a mix of different directions, which I think is great for developing as an artist because you don't have the borders of the art style.
Yes.
So it's something like chemistry, graphic, fine line, macrorealism. So depending on the design, I implement different styles which affect what I do.
Yeah, so basically you can actually always decide if you're maybe get bored a little bit with this kind of like maybe one of the styles, you can just say, okay, I'm doing like a little bit different. So you can always add to it or yeah, just like it's super interesting that you can just change.
I think I always stay in the same direction, I would say, of my interest, what I like in art. But from time to time, I add different styles. Like lately, I love doing abstract, flowy lines, and I implement them in my other designs. And yeah, it developed like this. But usually, it always stay in what I like. I don't tattoo what I don't like, which I think is very important. So you will really like what you do. Uh, I think it's great for tattoo artists to do only what you like. Yeah. So
Yes,
you
sure.
will put all your soul in it. So it's truly yours.
Yes, yes, sure. I realized that you're actually right now on holidays. Can you tell us about a
Yeah.
little bit?
Yeah. I was in a long work trip lately, I think for around 3 weeks or so out of my home. And now I'm in Malaga in Spain for Christmas holidays.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I wanted to spend this holiday somewhere out of my home for this year and some warmer place. So yeah, this time I'm in Spain.
And how is the climate right now? How is the weather?
It's very good. It's sunny, everyday sun, which is
Oh,
perfect.
yeah, nice. I
I
mean,
suppose you're in Hamburg, right?
yes, yes. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
you know Hamburg weather also. I mean, I knew that you were guesting here, but
yeah,
what can I say? I mean, right now it's dry, so it's perfect. At
yeah, yeah. But when I came, it was really freezing in Hamburg. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
really windy and rainy. So it's nice to come to a sunny country.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, I wish I could. Wish I could also. And where is your home? I mean, I don't know where you're coming from or where you're living. Maybe it's like two different things.
Yes, I'm originally from Belarus, from small city Lida. But then I moved to the capital Minsk. Then I moved to Moscow, and I lived there for around 10 years or so. And now I'm living in Porto in Portugal for 2 years already.
Oh, nice. And maybe can you mention a little bit on about your journey? Like, can you tell us something about it, how it developed that you ended up in Porto? So you wanted to go to a warmer place, or you were just like really like the vibes in Portugal?
Well, when I moved here with my husband, we never been in Portugal before, so it was first time for us, and we moved here like for a long time. We planned to stay here and to get some documents. We have the residence permit for now, and in the future we would like to get the permanent resident. And in Porto, yeah, which was one of the reasons is the climate. It's warm. It's also ocean, and it's also when I lived in Moscow, I came to Europe quite often to work, but it was really hard to get visa all the time and come back. And I always wanted to move to Europe at some point, and Portugal is a very good place for this, for the climate, yeah, and for people and for food. So it's great for me to live there, but I travel quite often out of Portugal.
Okay, and first you just visited Portugal to check it out, or you were like searching for a place with your husband together online that, okay, where we can actually go, or how it was in the very
Oh,
beginning?
we were checking the places. We also were checking the immigration programs, and Portugal had one of the best programs for us.
Ah, I
And this
see.
is one of the main reasons why we moved here. But also, additionally, it was the country itself. But when we moved there, we haven't been to Portugal before. So it
Oh,
was, yeah, so it was our
I mean,
very first time. We came here to Portugal and stayed there.
yeah, but it's a really good choice. I've been only once in Portugal, but I already fell in love with it. So
Oh, where?
yeah, I've been in Lisbon once.
Mm, yeah, it's
So,
very nice.
but
Yeah.
everyone's told me before that I should also visit Porto because it's also very beautiful and has like a really artistic vibe
Hmm.
and a lot of like cool buildings and it's like a smaller city, I think. I like
Yeah,
Lisbon.
it's definitely cozier, I would say, in comparison to Lisbon. Lisbon is very beautiful, but it's bigger. It's have this capital vibes. But Porto is smaller. Yeah, and we live very close to the ocean, so it's very nice there. And the climate is a bit different in comparison to Lisbon. It's a bit more chilly in summer, which is great because in Lisbon it can get very hot, like up to 40 degrees, and in Porto it's better. But in
Okay.
winter it's a bit colder than in Lisbon. But we came to other countries during winter time.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
it's a bit warmer in Spain than in Portugal now, and it's not that humid as there.
Yeah. And I mean, you're also used to cold weather like before because of Russia, I guess. So,
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a step up in the climate's point. Yeah, because winters in Russia can get very depressing
yeah.
sometimes. Yeah, with the I love snow, but the weather is not that low sometimes. That the snow is melting and it's mixing with the dirt from the cars.
Okay. Okay. And don't you miss actually Moscow? I mean, your family maybe is there still or
My family is in Belarus.
Belarus? Ah,
There, yeah. So in Moscow, I only have my friends.
I see.
I miss my friends, of course, and I miss my family in Belarus. And I want them to come to me this year. But last year I visited them as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I miss Russia and Belarus at some points, but of course not all of them. But I'm really happy where I'm right now.
And also in Europe that you can just like travel around all the time. I guess it's really also very important for your work.
Yeah, yeah. For the artistic development, it's very nice. They can travel to different studios, meet different artists, to exchange the experiences. So it's very cool.
It's already amazing. I love your work, also, I have to tell.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I was wondering, how did you come to tattooing? So, what was the beginning of the story? I ask all of our guests, so I'm pretty sure you already checked. It's a very like a basic question, but
Yeah.
interesting to hear. But every different artist had like a little bit of different way,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and we would like to hear yours.
Sure. So I think it's the most famous, popular question I get from my customers
Yes, yes, yeah.
during sessions. I
I
think
I know.
it's fitting for all the tattoo artists, but I
Yes.
get it. I think it's interesting for the customer to check like how the artist started.
Yeah.
So I was drawing all my life since childhood, but I never considered drawing as my main job. So it was always for me as a hobby, which I really liked. So I attended some drawing classes, but only not professionally. And then I moved to Moscow to study different things, and I realized that I don't want to do this. And I was working at this moment at as the video production producer at the video production agency, and it was also a quite creative job, but not that much. So I didn't like it was too stressful. I think all this area is very stressful. So I wanted to quit, and I didn't know what to do. And I had a lot of free time back then because, like in where I worked, we had some crisis in the company, so it was like very depressing. So I had a lot of free time at home, and I started drawing again as like what I did when I was younger. I found some inspiration on Pinterest and decided to draw something on my style, and decided to just upload it on the internet and created Instagram account, and just started drawing just for fun and uploading it there. And back then, Instagram was much better for promotion. So I
Yes.
only used hashtags and it already helped to promote my art. So yeah, I started uploading my arts and they went viral and I started getting a lot of followers. And people started asking me for custom designs for their tattoos, which was very surprising for me because I was just drawing pictures like tattoos, what? And at some point, I started getting more money from drawing than from my main job. And they also didn't pay me salary on time. So I already wanted to quit them. But I decided to check tattooing because also a lot of people who ordered design were asking if I can tattoo this design myself. And I decided to check tattooing. I never thought about this sphere actually for serious until this moment. So I was like, okay, it's drawing on skin. I love drawing. Like, why not? And I found some, it's like a Russian alternative of Facebook.
Mhm.
I found some group there. I wrote them. Like it was like a group for young tattoo artists, like amateur. And I asked like, "Hi, I want to do tattoo. I don't know what to buy, what to get. Can you help me? Can you give me some advice? I'm not sure what's going on." And one tattoo artist replied me and checked my works and sent me a list of what I should buy and said I can come to his studio and he will help me at the beginning. So just for free, just because he liked my style, it was really,
Nice.
really nice. So I spent all my last money on the equipment, quit my job finally, and just went to this tattoo studio where I made my first tattoo with this artist who helped me. And I stayed at the studio for I think maybe less than a year or so. I was asking for some advices for him, but mostly I was developing myself because we had a bit different styles.
Okay, so it was
So
basically a little bit kind of apprenticeship like, but it not
yeah,
entirely
yeah, really, really basic. Just like
basic. Okay.
only how to make a machine, how to make the lines, and that's it.
Yeah.
And all the rest, I had to check myself because as I said, we had different styles, different techniques, so I did it on myself. But I also watched some videos on YouTube and checking out other artists' work, trying to to pause the videos on the Instagram to see how they make the lines. So
Yeah.
getting the maximum information I could from the internet.
Yes, yes. And what was the point when you said, okay, after 1 year that you reached, I guess, a certain level, and then you said, okay, I want to go further? Did you search another studio in Moscow, or did you open your own, or how it went, like the story?
I found another studio. I think it was the studio owned by some American artist or so. I spent there around a year as well, and then I moved to my last studio in Moscow. It was male only studio, really small, only appointment, so it was really cozy there, and I spent a few years. I always forget the number. It was a few years,
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, numbers are anyway, as you said in the
Yeah.
beginning, it's not so important. And how did you realize that you want to leave Moscow?
I moved to Moscow when I was 17 years old. So I just finished school and I wanted to study, and Moscow had good place to study. So that was the reason I moved there. They have good place for this, and my parents always trusted me with the I don't know, like I always was a good girl, I would say. So Moscow is huge city for 17 years old a girl, but I was fine. So I moved there and just stayed there for 10 years. And I visited my family, but I always was in Moscow. But I wanted something bigger. I knew that I feel much better in Europe. I just loved the direction of the art there. I loved the project I did there, and I loved meeting new people all over the world, like different nations. So it was very nice to come to such place.
Okay.
So it was my goal, but we were slowly moving to it with my husband, and then finally did this.
Can I ask how did you meet with him?
Yeah, sure. We meet online. He ordered tattoo design for me.
Cool.
Yeah. So it was also in like in this Russian Facebook. Some group posted my drawings, and he was like scrolling the internet and found the group about like the publication about me in some group, and he wrote me and asked me to design art for him for the tattoo. And we started talking. I made a design, and he made the tattoo really fast. And actually, before I always drew this design for other people, but I never saw how they looked on real skin because
Nice.
at this moment when we met, I wasn't tattoo yet, so I was only drawing.
That would have been
And
my question, but yeah, you are.
yeah, I wasn't tattoo artist. I was only
Mm.
drawing. So he sent me the picture of the tattoo from my design. I was so impressed. I think it's also affected me somehow because I was only drawing but never saw the end of this. And now I finally saw my art in someone's skin. It was like really impressive. And we started talking. He lived in Siberia at this time, and I lived in Moscow. Yeah, and we had like around 4 years of time difference, and we were dating on the distance. I came to Siberia, he came to Moscow, and then at the end, he moved to Moscow to me when he finished studies.
Yeah, cool. Really nice story. I heard that also you're like, I mean, I heard and I read about it that you also kind of created a business together. I mean,
Yeah.
for now, maybe you can mention a little bit about the story.
Yeah, we have a very small brand for now. We make temporary tattoos based on my designs. So it's for those who want to try something on their skin and not sure yet, or they want to check how this gonna feel, or just for parties. We have some like fake freckles for the face. It's good for festivals or just for
So
summer,
fun.
just to decorate yourself. If you're
Yeah.
not sure for the commitment, you can try temporary tattoos for a few days.
And are you always planning new designs frequently for the site, or how you're doing actually? How you're managing the new projects?
I'm not making collections and then remove them. I always add new designs to make the choice bigger.
Hmm.
So I keep those who sell the best, for example, and just develop them. And we try different sizes, different designs, different directions, different products. So we want to try something in the future, not only temporary tattoos, just different product based on my style, my aesthetics, my art, and develop it further.
Maybe can you tell us a little bit about what could come on the site?
So now we mostly sell online, and in the future we want to start working with the client shops and to send our designs and tattoos all over the world. For example, we are very close to Brazil, so to start working with Brazil because when there is colder in Europe, it's warmer in Brazil. They also love tattoos, so we want to develop this direction, and also we already sold our tattoos on the different local festivals and markets in Portugal. And we also
Nice.
want to try something bigger in the future as well for bigger festivals, for example,
So
and
you
maybe to
are,
make some collaborations with festivals will be great.
that sounds really cool. And he's managing it, or you are writing it to the.
We are doing we're splitting the job, so I do mostly creative stuff. So I'm directing the photos, making the videos. He's helping me as well with this. I'm doing designs, and he's doing the managing the taxis. So all this stuff I'm not very good with.
Yes, the tiring stuff is for him.
Yes, yes.
And you are
But
just like the creative. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But he also helps me very much with the backstages, with the photos. So we always come together for the shootings. But we also discuss the direction, the style of the photos. I always try to make more creative photo shoots. It's also one of my hobbies to make photos and videos.
Nice.
So yeah, it's connecting very good with what I do. So yeah, I'd always try to make some creative photos where design really pop up. From like in the natural surroundings, the natural designs. I try to take mountain designs when I go hiking to make some pictures in front of the mountain. So something like this.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. With like trying out new stuff, not just like the boring, okay, it's just a tattoo on the body part, and
Yeah,
because that's
yeah,
not
yeah,
selling. I think
yeah.
the aesthetic pictures about cool like backgrounds and cool movements are selling the most right now.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of my design, unfortunately, were stole by China. And I also saw my temporary tattoo designs stolen by bigger companies in Europe.
Oh,
And it's very hard to, unfortunately, to do something with this because they change a small element and then it's new design. In the future, maybe we can do something with this, but for now, it's very hard to control this. When I see really same design, it's easier to fix by Instagram. We just send them requests, send them original publication and the copy, and they usually delete the copy and make them they tell the account who copied not to do this anymore, otherwise they will be blocked. So
wow.
this is cool, but it only works if it's really like 100% copied. If
Okay.
something is changed, it will be harder to prove.
Mm,
But it's
crazy.
also it works with not only like the temporary designs, it works with tattoos as well, for example.
Yeah, I saw, I think, because every now and then, of course, I was checking your story recently, like frequently, and I saw that you were just walking somewhere on the street and
Uh,
you find in the. Yeah,
it's very fun. It's like a few minutes from my home in Porto. It's tiny studio. And I was just walking by, and my husband noticed the flesh tattoos, and we came to take a look. And he said, like, "Oh, this one look like your style." And I looked at like, "Oh, that's my design from like 2021 or so."
Wow.
I was like, "Okay, I would like to see how it look on skin because the original design is very detailed and definitely should be made with the fine line." So
That was like a wheel design, right?
yeah,
Or
so it's
something with
whale
the
in the air balloon,
mm,
and the size that they suggested was like very small, like 3 times smaller that I tattooed originally, and
mm.
it's already what was like the minimum you could do to save the details on heel.
And I didn't check exactly the design. Like, which body part did you tattooed on and how big was it?
It was like
On the
shoulders,
shoulder.
so something like this, and the original design was like this. I was like,
Okay.
okay, I want to see how it is gonna look on skin.
And
I
did you
think
did you check already like the studio if they did it or you didn't?
No, no, no. I decided, no,
Yeah, whatever.
I don't
Yeah.
care. Because at the very beginning of my career, when I saw some copies of my designs on Instagram or somewhere, I wanted to contact these people and I asked them to remove it. And usually the reply was not very friendly. People are like, "Oh, you uploaded it to the internet, so it belongs to the internet. I can take it." So it's very hard to speak to people when they have this direction. Like, yeah, yeah. So and then at some point, I just decided to give up. I don't care anymore.
And how you're not losing yourself in this. There's a lot of different styles and a lot of different trends. How you try to stay focused on your inner self and the tattoos,
hmm
you know, and not like getting too much influenced by the outside world.
I think it's what I told you in the beginning. It's mostly if you really want to be good on something, you should only, it was say about art. You should only create what's like inside you. If you will try to take some trend, or if you will try the style which is not really connecting with you because it's popular, maybe you will get like famous at some point because this style is trendy, for example, but you might lose yourself. And as I told you, I really only take projects that I really like and the story that I like, and I know that I will like use 100% of my inner side to create the best design because I'm really interested in it. And
Mhm.
I know like if I try something a bit out of my style, I lose interest a bit, and it's not really good, I think, for tattoo artists because you should be really into your style, and people notice when you're not really honest, you know.
Yes,
And
yes, transparent. And you're just like, you can see that you're sweating when you're doing the design, I guess,
yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah. So you should really listen to yourself and only do what really connects with you. You know, it's really easy to go to the trendy side and get a lot of money, but you will lose yourself as an artist. So at the beginning, that was a bit a problem for me because I only wanted to do like my style. I didn't want to go somewhere out of my style. And when you're a beginner, of course, it's very hard to find the audience. And also, when I created my Instagram, I made it in English, so it's mostly Americans and Europeans who follow me. And when I decided to start tattooing in Moscow, I didn't have any Russian audience because I was writing in English. So
Yeah.
that was problem to promote at the beginning, and I also didn't do something out of my style, as I told you. So it was a bit tricky first here to stay with your style, but once I like went over it, so it became much better later.
So you're saying also the language is very important on Instagram that you were posting only on English?
I was posting in English, and then when I started tattooing in Russia, I made double captions in Russian and
I see.
English.
Ah, okay. And it helped to grow, right?
Yeah, so
Mm.
maybe if I will start my account in Russian, it will be easier to tattoo in the beginning, but I think my art won't develop that fast because it was only limited audience. Because English speaking audience, of course, is much bigger than Russian.
Yeah. About your work, I discovered as well that you're doing like these super special, amazing couple tattoos. Do you have a story in your mind what was really cool to read, like a request from a client, and that you were just
Mm.
like blown away to do the design? Maybe you
Mm.
could.
It was actually other way around. So I was in Moscow, and like then when I made my first couple project, and I decided to challenge myself with something very different from what I do, not regarding the style, but regarding the difficulty of the work. and I wanted to create something very different to what I do. And I came to idea to make a couple tattoo, but not that standard couple tattoo that we see, like something like repeating the numbers or something, like names.
Yes, yes, yes.
Or, but I wanted to make tattoos that will look independent on each person. But when they will connect, they will make a whole new design. So I posted in my Instagram that I'm looking for a couple, open for a couple tattoo, ideally without big tattoos on themselves, open for any artistic ideas, and ready for the photo shoot at the end. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna upload this. I definitely won't find anyone with such a request. And I just saved it in stories and just forgot about this for a few months. And then my couple, which I worked with, they reached me. They, I'm not sure, but I think they both didn't have any tattoos at this point. Maybe something very small, and they liked my style and they were agree to try. I made a very big discount on this very first project just because I wanted to try something and to add something to my portfolio, say. So it was very artistic project, not commercial at all.
And what was the design? If you could maybe mention it, because the ladies later I'm just gonna blend it in so that people can understand the.
So I think all of my couple tattoos on the back. So it has mountains on the both of the sides, and it's the biggest one I have because it's not only the back side, but it's also arms and chest connecting on the back. I think it's connecting here on the belly area and somewhere as well. Yeah, so it's a bigger project. Yeah.
Do you remember how long this tattoo took for you?
So this the biggest one I have. The first one was I think 3 days or
Wow.
so.
So
Yeah,
like
this one.
after another like a 3 day session?
Yeah, I think so. It was like one day after another one.
Amazing.
We split for the first person, the second one, and then the first one I was mostly freehanding and conducting and discussing the concept.
On the first day, did you freehand on both? So of course you started on one person to tattoo and then the second one, but I guess you needed to, or maybe somehow you needed to have the second person as well there to have it aligned on the body, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So I when I work with my couples, I usually ask them to come together. I draw and transfer design all together. So then I check it's connected. And only when I'm sure that everything is okay, I start tattooing. So depending on the size of the project, but it's usually one person, a bit of scratching of the skin on the other person to save the details that connected. And then the next day is for the another person.
Nice. That's really interesting because I mean, I never like apart from collage, probably there is maybe some alike
Probably.
designs, but it was so beautiful and I mean, it's super
Yeah,
nice.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's one of the best compliments I get is when people say that they don't like couple tattoos in other people.
Yeah.
But this one specifically I make, they really like it. So it's like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And are you doing a lot since then or from these couple tattoos or
Yeah, I think I have around 5 or so couple tattoos already. I have one planned for next year. So yeah, it's became I think part of my style. So lots of couples reach me for this to create something unique for them. Yeah, I have a mostly it's on the back, but I think people get influenced by this first one I get, and they also inspired by this placement, and they asked for its stay one. So I think it's also a part of the it's Instagram thing. People see the latest posted works. Not all people scroll down, so they usually request what you made at the like your last works. So they get inspired by this project and they ask me for the same position, but then something different that is only about them. Like I made the Lord of the Rings inspired couple project, for example, was also very interesting for me.
about social media, if you could, maybe we can talk about it like very
Yeah.
shortly. Are you doing as well everything on your own or your husband is helping as well in social media?
The social media itself I make myself, but my husband is helping me with the video content. So lately, I am when I'm working somewhere, I always travel with my husband. Yeah,
Nice.
so yeah, yeah, he has a remote job. He's designer. So when he has free time, he film me while I'm working, which is amazing because all the
Yeah,
tattoo artists they need videos all the time.
all the
That's
time.
the biggest pain. You always need content,
Yes, yes.
and not so many studios can make videos for you. So it's great that he's traveling with me and making videos for me. And then I just, for example, when I will have time now for a small vacation, I will try to make as more videos as possible for the future because later I will come for the next work and then I won't have much time. And I want to save some videos already edited. This will save a lot of time.
Definitely. And how you're like managing to work and, like private life, like also enjoying a little bit because as also from the previous interviews, we all know that like tattooing and being an artist is like a 24/7 job. So you always sometimes, I mean, you need to just say for yourself, like, okay, right now I stop. What is your moment when you switch off, or do you feel it that you need it? Did you
Mm,
experience burnout, or for example?
I always try to have some time for myself. And I think it mostly works when I'm in the nature, when I'm distracted from the city life, when I don't have a good phone connection. I think that's the best time when I can rest and I don't think about my job. But when I'm at home, you're usually distracted from the emails, from the Instagram, and you're always there, which I think is not really good. You should really find time for yourself. I'm trying to work on that. But yeah, it's when you're a tattoo artist, you're like a photographer, videographer, you're making content, you're editing. So yeah, you're also writing texts for your publication, and you should make cool designs. So yeah,
It's pretty hard recently. So in the beginning, when I, for example, started, it was much easier. You were just like only needed to focus on drawing with hand, without iPad. There was
yeah,
not really
yeah,
my Instagram, and then just do cool designs and just maybe do like one or two good pictures. It doesn't even need it to be aesthetic. It just needed to be
yeah, yeah.
good enough to sharp enough. But I mean, of course, I really enjoy right now that this diversity, and I'm sure you also, because it's also inspiring to see, but it's also difficult to
Yeah,
manage.
it's pushing you a bit. The level of the content there is now on Instagram, it's very high. The videos are amazing. Like you should definitely have a camera, I think, for good pictures. It's iPhone probably is not enough anymore unless you're a beginner. So you should have very good content to stand out from the crowd.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely it's not enough. You should itself be a good artist. You can develop yourself, I think, when you have great designs and not very good equipment, of course, but it will be, I think, a bit harder than if you're very good at this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also interesting to your version. It's also interesting to hear because other people, like I also had another artist say they were on the same opinion with like balancing you out in the nature and just trying to stand out with the good content. Are you doing as well promotion to it, or right now you're like out of promotion, so you're just
It depends
mm,
on the city where I'm coming. So it depends on how close to the appointment dates I'm publishing my information about the booking. So if I have some time in advance, for example, my next work will be only at the end of January. So for now, I don't have any advertisement. I only like post it from time to time, reminding people about my dates and places I come. But I don't use paid promotion for now, and only when I'm a bit closer to dates, for example, and if I'm missing a few appointments, I might use the paid promotion. So it depends, right? Also, it depends on the season. For example, like August is usually quite hard because it's busy.
yes,
A bit, yeah. So I might use promotion in August, but other time it's usually okay without.
you were as well growing your account without promotion, so or every now and then you did.
I use promotion from time to
Hmm.
time. Depends on the period of how it goes. It's usually I also noticed on how lazy I become with my Instagram. I think yeah, Instagram punish you for laziness like immediately. If you stop posting, like people like they forget about you definitely, and to just be there, you should always be active. Yeah, when you're on vacation, you just want to chill. You don't want you want to relax from the social media because it can get really stressful. And no, you can't do this. You should always remind about yourself just for the algorithm. This is
Yeah.
how it works, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
so this is your advice as well. Like, but of course, finding the good balance, like maybe just find that what you can hold for a long period of time, like I don't know, one or two stories a day, and just like
yeah,
two
yeah.
or three. Three would be cooler, but two posts maybe a week on on the
Mhm.
days like always like the same time and
Yeah,
stuff.
so Instagram, you're like
Yeah.
you have a plan.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, but it's difficult. I mean, I was experimenting a lot with this, like more or less these days, that day. But I guess you're also looking up your statistics and checking, or
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. It depends. Yeah, but you should always be there, and you shouldn't give up on Instagram because it's the main promotion for tattoo artists at the moment. I think also TikTok, and I also use Pinterest for
interest.
promotion,
Yeah.
which also worked very good. I Some of my videos from Instagram got really like viral in Pinterest in comparison to Instagram. Like I got millions of views on Pinterest and for example, like 50,000 on Instagram.
Oh,
So
okay. Cool. Did you like pair the Instagram to Pinterest, or did you upload
uh
separately on
no,
Pinterest?
I noticed that the quality, I don't know, maybe it's for me, the quality gets lower when I make out publications. So I usually find some time, just sit on the Pinterest and upload everything all together.
Okay, I see.
I don't really have the specific plan for Pinterest. I just throw my content there, just like something is going on, I'm like, okay. So I don't have like that much time for spending equal time for Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, and for example YouTube. I don't
Yeah,
know. So I try to have the Instagram as my base promotion page, and the rest just as the help to the main one.
good.
There's so much content nowadays, so it's much harder than before to just keep up with it. Mm.
Do you have any advice what you would, if you just like turn back time and you're like a beginner tattoo artist, what was your mistake? What you would do now differently? Maybe I was too hard on myself, or I don't know. Like maybe you have something in
Mm,
mind.
I think this is what my husband always told me. I was too low with my prices, and for a long time I make tattoos for free because I wasn't really confident enough in my art. I always thought that my art is not good enough, so it's like it's okay, but not that good to ask this amount of money, like which other artists ask. And I think I should be not shouldn't be like not that strict to myself and just get paid better for what I did because the first years I told you was a bit harder for me because this was my main job. I didn't have a lot of customers. So I paid for the studio, I paid for my room with my roommate. So the money problem was always very, very tough. So if I would be not that strict to myself, I think it would be a bit better to survive the first year. So you shouldn't be afraid to ask money for your job. I also like first years I still wasn't really sure about the job. I thought it is still kind of a hobby which I get paid for some reason. So it took some time for me to realize that it's a real job and I do it good, so I should be paid for it. Yeah.
Okay, so that would be, I mean, that's a really good point. I also know the beginnings, but beginning is always difficult too because you're a beginner, you just cannot really decide, okay, am I on the
Yeah, it's
point
hard
or
to find this balance. Yeah, if you don't have like enough bookings, like how can I make my prices higher if my bookings are slow? If I will make it higher, then I will lose all my customers, and it's always this balance. It's just a slow process.
slow
You
process? Yeah.
experiment, you try to raise the prices, you see how it goes, and then you realize that it's actually okay if people still pay for your art, and then you should be that strict to yourself. Yeah, and yeah, so I listened to devices, and I also became more confident
Confident, yeah.
in my art. But it took some time. I think from the first year, I already started getting invitation to European studios to come for a guest visit. But I was like, what? No, like look at my art, it's not that good. How can I come to European studio to work? Like no. And I waited I think for 2 or so years when I firstly came for my first guest spot.
What was the first guest spot?
It was in Berlin, in the
Ah,
Berlin
nice.
studio. I think I came for a month. I think I get a visa for a month or so. So I made a small European tour and came back to Russia, I think. Yeah.
And I guess then you
Mm.
decided, okay, I want to go to Europe. Or
Yeah, like very much.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was very great experience for me because I worked in this small studio, which were only 5 artists, and we all worked with different styles. So you had some exchange, but it's still, I know, we had like realistic designs and the color design, which were like very different from what I did. And when I finally met people which were doing something closer to me, so I could finally get some like experience from people that are closer to me regarding the style. So some techniques, I found out about some needles, some different equipments, which are very interesting.
Do you have any recommendation actually for fine line tattooers maybe, or who are like trying out like new stuff? What you prefer, because maybe they're just gonna try it out and maybe they won't like it, but maybe could
Do you
be
mean which needles
which
I use or
needles
so?
or which ink maybe.
I use quadron needles for single needle.
Mm.
I think 35. And for next size is for Emala. I'm using Emala right
Hmm.
now
Yeah.
for 3 route liner. I think the smallest, maybe 25. So it's very close to single needle, but it's still 3. It's very
Mm.
tight. So it's works very good for me. And the bigger sizes I use for Quadron again, and for Magnum. And for ink, I'm using Eclipse at the moment.
Eclipse, yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean,
And I'm yeah, making my own gray wash.
yes, yes. How are you making gray wash? Like, are you using like 4 different cups or doing like
I'm using actually only 3.
mm,
Depends on the
and
project.
mixing,
If
right?
it's yeah, if it's more realistic, I might use a bit more, but more variations of back. But usually 3, 4 is enough for my style. I don't go crazy with a lot of. I think I will get lost in them. And at the end, I like how my tattoos look, how they heal. So this is enough for me.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I know also artists that they are doing like 4 or 5 cups, but I also like prefer 3 because I
Yeah,
have water
yeah,
next to it and I'm just mixing it by feeling.
yeah.
So
Yeah. You just go with the flow.
yes, yes, yes. I think I would have like one last question, and it's regarding the future. So, how you imagine yourself in 5 years?
I think I would like to find better balance between being a tattoo artist and also developing my other hobbies, which I really like. I told you the photography and videography. So I think I would like to have less sessions because I start feeling my back very much. I think it's also a very common problem among all
Yes,
artists. So I think I want to would like to have better health in the future, so not to go lower with each year. So I think maybe to have less sessions, and it will be great to spend more time on each design, not to have such a tight schedule, um, and to develop my brand. So it will be the two main direction I will have, and yeah, and to finally find this balance between work and relaxing and enjoying this life.
yeah. And would you like to also educate people?
Yeah, I think it would be great to share your experience. Yeah, I only tried it once. I had offline education for the beginner tattoo artist. So I would think I would consider it in the future, but for now
Mm.
I
Yeah,
concentrated on the other things. So when I will have more time, so because I don't want to do this not with my full strength, I want to give all myself to this. So once I will be ready, I think I would like to do this.
yes. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure to talk to you and get to know you also. And I think you also explained a lot of interesting things. Thank you so much for watching our 5th episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And as well, I hope you already subscribed on YouTube and followed us on Instagram because it's very important. We are still in the beginning of our growing process, so I would really appreciate if you like the video, like comment, like, and like I said, just follow up. Thank you and stay inspired. Bye.